This one's a capella. This one's about a fire that occurred in Hudson Falls. I think it was the early to mid-90s. And I wrote the lyrics as a mailman here on Elizabeth Street. I remember writing the words in my head. The fire was on Feeder Street in Hudson Falls. Like I said, this is a capella. Last week's fatal fire left the local people stunned. The obituary photographs showed victims much too young. Protected by my distance, I was feeling quite removed from the impact of emotions, but I admit that I was moved when I drove by the apartment where the tragedy had been, and I saw flowers on the doorstep, ashes in the wind. Flowers on the doorstep, ashes in the wind. The authorities had several questions to investigate, and the local paper tried in vain to get the story straight. Had Niagara Mohawk blundered? Had the furnace been shut down? Had the tenants been endangered with the landlord out of town? It took a long-distance call to notify the next of kin, 'cause now there's flowers on the doorstep, ashes in the wind. Flowers on the doorstep, ashes in the wind. Now the windows are all boarded up, there's no one living there. The neighborhood is quiet and the passers-by all stare at the empty, burned-out building where the firemen had cried, at the sight of children dying, lying huddled side by side. Somehow in looking back at this, it seems so easy to prevent. But now there's flowers on the doorstep, ashes in the wind. Flowers on the doorstep, ashes in the wind. Behind every cruel tragedy, it hardly seems to fail, there's a bureaucratic businessman whose check is in the mail. I don't mean to sit in judgment, I don't mean to place no blame. Perhaps all of us are guilty for the accidental flame. So let the ones who cast the first stone be they who haven't sinned. 'Cause now there's flowers on the doorstep, ashes in the wind. Flowers on the doorstep, ashes in the wind. Now there's flowers on the doorstep, ashes in the wind.